Thanks for listening to English Go Podcast. If you'd like to listen without adverts, read episode transcripts, or listen to extra bonus episodes, please check the description for more details.
If you're listening to this podcast, you must recognize the value of asking questions. At Aramco, our questions help us engineer a better future. How can today's resources fuel our shared tomorrow? How can we deliver energy to a world that can't stop? How can we deliver one of the fuels of the future? How can we sow curiosity to harvest ingenuity? To learn more about how innovation drives us forward, visit aramco.com/poweredbyhow.
The number one selling product of its kind with over 20 years of research and innovation. Botox Cosmetic, out of botulinum toxin A, is a prescription medicine used to temporarily make moderate to severe frown lines, crow's feet, and forehead lines look better in adults.
Effects of Botox Cosmetic may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness may be a sign of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Don't receive Botox Cosmetic if you have a skin infection. Side effects may include allergic reactions, injection site pain, headache, eyebrow and eyelid drooping, and eyelid swelling. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Tell your doctor about medical history, muscle or nerve conditions including ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects. For full safety information, visit BotoxCosmetic.com or call 877-351-0300.
See for yourself at BotoxCosmetic.com.
Over the last 10 years, Bombas has donated over 100 million socks, underwear, and T-shirts to those facing homelessness. If we counted those on air, this ad would last over 1,157 days. But if we counted the time it takes to make a donation possible this holiday season, it would take just a few clicks. Because every time you make a purchase, Bombas donates an item to someone who needs it.
Go to bombas.com/lockedon and use code LOCKEDON for 20% off your first purchase. That's bombas.com/lockedon, code LOCKEDON.
Let's have a little break from the Japan holiday series today, in today's episode. Yesterday, I was flicking through the television channels. That's quite a good way of saying it, isn't it? Flicking through the channels. That's what we normally say. So, browsing the channels on the television, flicking through the TV channels. And I found a program for learning English. And for some reason, I started watching it. I don't need to learn English. I'm sure there are many things I could probably learn about English to make my English better. But I didn't really need this particular program. But it was interesting to me because it was interesting seeing what people were, like, what Japanese people were learning and how they were learning English. So I was watching it for a while, and most of the program was pretty good. It was very boring, I feel. It was mostly in Japanese, and then there would be some bits where someone would speak in English, and then it would go back to Japanese. And I remember this one section, which I thought was weird, but then again, not too dissimilar, not too different from something you might find in a textbook for learning English. So there were these two people, and they were talking about the words tall and high, because they're sort of similar, aren't they? Something's tall, something's high. It's, both mean something, a very big object, vertically. So they're trying to explain the differences between these two words. And it's like, if you talk about a building, then you would say it's a tall building, not a high building. And then if you're talking about a person's height, you would say they were very tall, not they're very high. And those kind of examples. And then they said, and if you were talking about a mountain, what would you say? And the person said, did you say it's a very tall mountain? Yeah, I think it's true. We would say it's a tall mountain. To be honest, though, I think if someone said it's a high mountain, that's also okay. Because the mountain, maybe there's some rules, right, in English that I don't know because I don't learn English. I just, I had never learned it in like a classroom environment. I just picked it up from my parents and people around me and so on. Maybe there is a rule that says you can't say it's a high mountain. But to me, it sounds fine to say that mountain is very high. I think it sounds better if you say it's, the mountain's very tall. But I think I wouldn't say it was like really bad. If someone said it to me, if someone said, look at that mountain over there, it's really high. Yeah, okay. Maybe it sounds a bit weird. Maybe it does sound a little weird. If you say it's really high up, yeah. Anyway, whether it's right or wrong isn't really what I wanted to talk about. I don't want to do a podcast about whether you should say the mountain is it's a high mountain or it's a tall mountain. What I wanted to talk about is I just find it interesting how you get TV programs and you get books for studying English, and they're always talking about there's this word and you use this word in this way in this circumstance, and it's always like black and white. It's like yes or no, it's wrong or right. And then there will be lots of students and they'll want to know, what's the difference between high and tall, and when can we use high and when can we use tall, and so on and so on and so on. And personally, I can't see the point of all this. I mean, yeah, a little bit. I think like studying that kind of stuff a little might be useful, but I wouldn't get too caught up on it. I wouldn't, obsess over it. I wouldn't try and understand like every difference between every little word and that kind of thing. I think sometimes in a language, and I've had to do this many, many times when I've been learning Japanese, I've just got to accept that there's something different about these two words and I don't quite understand what it is, and maybe I'll learn about it in the future and maybe I won't. And I think that is a very good skill to have as a language learner. The ability to sort of say, like, ooh, okay, we've got two words here. They look very similar. Well, no, they didn't look very similar. Their meanings appear to be very similar. And I can't quite understand the nuance between them. I can't quite understand the little differences between these two words. But that's okay. And I think no one tends to teach that, in a lesson, in a book, in a classroom, on a TV program. No one tends to say like, yeah, these words are different, but don't worry about it. You don't need to try and find out why they're different. Now, why do I think this ability is important? I think it's important because language is a mess, and it's not clean, and it's not black and white. There's not always like a perfect right and wrong. So sometimes in the early days of my Japanese study, I would find these two words or three words that all appeared to be very similar, and I'd spend a lot of time trying to figure out why. Why are they, why are they different? What are the little differences between them? And I would never get like 100% clarity, like I would never get 100% understanding of why they were different. And at some point, I just realized I'm just wasting my time here. All I need to know, all that's important for me to know is this word and perhaps this word too, they're all sort of similar. I don't know why they're different at the moment, but I'll just keep that knowledge in my brain. This word is like this word. And then with that knowledge, I've just done stuff in Japanese. I've watched, listened to things, read things, and so on. And naturally, you just see, this word is usually used here. So, I don't know, someone's talking about a tall building. Someone's talking about a tall person. Someone's talking about an aeroplane flying very high. So you just naturally learn. You naturally pick up these differences. The more you expose yourself, the more you get like deeper and deeper, more deeply exposed into a language. And when I realized this, my Japanese study started moving more quickly, I think. I think I started moving at a quicker pace. You know, I didn't stress out about all these little things that I couldn't understand. Words and articles and all kinds of things. I just started ignoring stuff. It sounds crazy, doesn't it? I just started to, I don't care. I don't care about grammar. I don't care about the meaning of these words. Just forget it all and just try and listen to Japanese more, try and read Japanese more. And it was amazing. It worked. I just stopped caring and started doing. And I think it's a shame that they don't teach you that in classes, or maybe some do. I don't know. But I think generally they don't teach you that way of thinking in classes and in textbooks and stuff. I remember once one of my friends showing me an English textbook. They were studying at an English school in England, and they wanted some help with this textbook, right? So I thought, oh yeah, I'll do that. I'll help you. That'll be really easy. You know, English. I'm great at speaking English. So it was right at the beginning of the book as well, and they showed me this question, and they were like, "What's the correct way?" Like the question was something like, "How do you say this? Like what word do you use in this sentence?" And you could pick 3 words. And I looked at these 3 words, and I looked at this sentence, and I thought, all of those 3 words are fine. All of those 3 words. If someone said this sentence, and he said, this time we'll use this word in the sentence, and this time we'll use this word, they all sound perfectly fine to me. I would say, maybe I could say, okay, use this word instead. But, I didn't know. I just thought, why on earth? Why are you studying this? What nonsense. You know? What absolute nonsense. If you give your book to someone who speaks English and they can't go, yep, it's this word, straight away, they can't do that. They have to sit and think and try and understand, why? Why is that one wrong? I don't understand. If an English person can't understand what you're trying to study, I think you're trying to study something completely useless, aren't you? I mean, yes, maybe if you're trying to pass some kind of exam, that kind of thing is useful to you. Because, I don't know, for some reason exams seem to ask lots of things that I don't think are very useful. But, yeah, don't you think that's strange? Studying something that a native speaker doesn't know the answer to. And I'm not stupid. I don't think, well, maybe sometimes, but I'm not that stupid. You know, I've finished school, I've finished college, I finished university. So I must have some a decent level of education, and still I could not answer quite a few of these questions in the book. I was looking through this book, and it was just amazing. It was the first time I'd seen a book about studying English. I just thought, wow, I'm glad I'm not studying English at your school. I won't say the name of the school, but to be honest, I think they're all sort of the same. Just trying to get you to learn all of these things, which, just spending too much time on these small details. Just forget about them. Just give the students loads of English to listen to read, and then help them when they have questions. The lessons should be more here's a book, read it, and then if you have any questions, ask me, and I'll give you answers. And I think you could make a lot more progress doing that, rather than getting caught up in all of the little tiny details within English that even English people don't really understand. Anyway, I don't know if this podcast had a particular point. Probably not. I just wanted to tell you about that TV program that I saw recently, and I thought it was pretty interesting. And anyway, I think you're all fine because you're already listening to this podcast. You're already getting exposure to native material. And I hope you're reading books as well as listening to this podcast. And I hope you're listening to other podcasts as well, and really getting lots of exposure, or listening to TV series or films or whatever. And getting more and more exposure to English. And I hope you're not spending too much time trying to figure out all of the tiny little differences in many English words. Spend a little bit of time having a look, quick what's the difference between this word and this word? But don't go crazy, Just sometimes accept that you're not ready to understand it quite yet. So just be happy knowing that they're similar, and maybe sort of roughly understanding what the difference is. And then over time, the answer, I think, will become clear to you when you're ready. Right. Until next time, bye-bye.